Hi, I'm Tony. I'm an author, presenter at Sky Sports, and years ago I went to the jungle and got ill. Very ill. So this is my podcast adventure to find more energy. It's packed with biohacking, science, health tech, supplements, and some of the most well-known experts on the planet.
This is something I spent 4 months of my life doing with electrodes glued to my head so that you can do a lifetime worth of meditation.
Decide what you don't give a fuck about, which is something you don't care about.
Some of it gets quite out there.
I had some stem cells sent up to my house that I had stored, and then I injected myself with mannitol.
And we even hack hangovers.
Alcohol is poisonous. So is water and oxygen in the wrong dosage.
So that's my podcast, Zestology. Live life with energy, vitality, and motivation. This is Zestology, the podcast all about energy, vitality, and motivation. I'm Tony Wrighton, and I am live at the Health Optimisation Summit. I mean, I'm live here now. By the time you listen to it, it's not live, but it's a big health and biohacking event taking place in London. You can probably hear the hubbub in the background. There are hundreds of exhibitors, some top-notch and top-name speakers, and I've been lucky enough to speak today and host the main stage and record some podcasts as well. I had the grand idea to record a lot of podcasts here this weekend, but I'm actually having so much fun, and I'm also quite knackered because I've been hosting the main stage. So you get in this one and you might get one or two more, but you're not going to get loads here because it's just too much fun. But when I look out over the hall, I can see Keto Mojo, Alitura, Functional Self, Happy Bee, so many great exhibitors here. AquaTrue, a water company. It's just Hunter and Gather, Voltage Biocharger, and Nuchido as well. Just so many great exhibitors here, and this is my idea of heaven a little bit, I have to say. Going around, chatting to stuff, talking to people, and losing my voice and getting really quite knackered. We had the VIP dinner last night. Probably wasn't the best preparation, drinking biodynamic wine and eating red meat late at night for this. I think I had about 5 hours sleep, but yeah, just so much fun. As I say, I've been introducing some of the speakers on the stage today. You'll be hearing from them on the podcast. Well, actually, most of them I've spoken to already, but I will speak to again. Ben Greenfield is one of the main draws here, and sort of was dressed as Rambo at the pre-match dinner last night. I mean, he looked extraordinarily awesome, I've got to say. I really wanted to be like him. And another man who's here, who I've just caught up with, is Mark Scott, who runs Bella and Duke, a pet food company which has got huge. He's also a big biohacker himself. And it's time now to hear from him on Zestology. So here he is. Okay, we are recording now. Mark, how are you doing?
Very good, Tony. How are you?
Yeah, it's really nice to see you in person. It's really the first time we've met properly this weekend, isn't it?
Absolutely, and what a weekend to meet on.
Yeah.
Let's go back down in London. It's a phenomenal weekend here at the summit. I've really enjoyed it, and it's great to be around like-minded people again.
It is. You are obviously well known for biohacking our pets, but you also do a lot on yourself, don't you? What has sort of grabbed your attention this weekend, or what is obsessing you at the moment? Because I love to ask that question.
I think just back to basics. Like, you forget the simple stuff that you're doing. Like, I was just chatting with my wife Sadie, who we both know, fortunately, and we were just chatting about actually we do a lot already. Whether it's the filtered water, whether it's the whoop bands, whether it's the infrared lighting, the saunas, all this stuff, and you're walking around and you go, actually, if I was here, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I'd be overwhelmed. But now each year I've done a bit more, probably like yourself, you realise, even like we were talking about intermittent fasting, it's just part of your life now. It's not a big issue. You're like, oh, I haven't eaten yet, or dinner hasn't arrived. No worries, you don't stress. And it's those sort of things that you just work into your life, and you realise, actually, that didn't happen in the last 6 months. That's like 6, 8, 10 years worth of just doing things and just incorporating in your life. And I think once it becomes a habit, you just forget about it. And that's what I think coming back here reminds me.
Yeah.
And also how many super smart people are out there.
I know.
Scary smart people.
Well, you mentioned the intermittent fasting. It was a very late night last night, wasn't it? And I couldn't have got through this morning without a good proper fast. Just a lot of black coffee, and that was it.
I was on the opposite. I'm like, I woke up this morning, had a bit of drink, and I haven't been drinking for 6 months.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did was get a breakfast. I'm like,
That's because you drank last night. Your defences were down.
Absolutely. And I think, also, I think you listen to your body a lot more, don't you? You just you tune in.
Yeah.
And I don't stress about the small stuff, whether I have the odd thing or you're there, because I can just fast, I can just compensate, as long as I'm not doing it all the time, I think.
And that's the healthiest thing of all, isn't it? To not get too hung up and stressed about any one thing. Because you can be, and I know I've been there, you can get, as a biohacker, you can get pretty hung up on, oh my God, I had 3 peanuts.
That's right, yeah. And that is critical here. I think it's giving yourself a break and not being too hard on yourself. And it's this whole holistic approach to life, it's you give yourself a break. And the worst critic is often the inner critic. So, not listening too bad to that. Yeah. But I think overall, no, it's a great weekend just to remind us of all of how easy it is to implement these things in your life and make those choices.
It is, yeah. I mean, I should just sort of set the scene for people. We're on the balcony overlooking the main summit. And if you're here today and you're listening to this at some point in the future, you'll know how that looks. But if not, I hope it's a lovely buzz in the background. I'm using very sophisticated audio recording equipment to record this podcast. Just my iPhone. I forgot the actual microphone. But I hope it all sounds okay and people can hear us all right. As you say, you try more and more stuff over the years, but I find there's only a few things that actually really stick. Now, when we last spoke, I didn't use mouth tape, but I do now, and I think I'll do it until I die.
Oh, really? I tried the mouse, and I just 2 o'clock in the morning.
Ripping it off.
Ripping it off,
Ripping off your beard off at the same time.
Making it squealing like a pig. But taking the magnesium at night, all those things, I just find, I've got my sleeping protocol that Sadie's printed out for me that I just, and all that kind of stuff. So I think, those basic hacks, they're built into your life. Even just when you're training, and being able to do basic stuff like HIIT exercises, get it done in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, not doing like a marathon, all those little, again, they're just hacks, they're just ways of living. And it's the same as I'm passionate about pet food and pet wellness. It's the same with pets. We often think we have to walk the dogs for miles and miles. No, actually, just doing some mind games, playing with them, hiding treats in places, that can just be as stimulating. How you walk with a senior dog as opposed to walking with a puppy. These things we're learning about in the human world, we're applying to the pet world. Even the gut biome. I'm on a massive mission to collect gut biomes from dogs and have the biggest gut biome for pets in the UK. That's my next goal. And start to prove how all these things like worming tablets and all these injections could be affecting the gut biome and what impact that has on dogs, as well as feeding dogs, low-grade food like kibbles and stuff like that. So that's my mission over the next 5 years. So all the stuff that we're learning, because the gut biome stuff really interests me in the human world, because it's so easy to apply that to pets and really understand it.
Totally, And I mean, I think in terms of the gut is the secret to everything for me, and I'm sure for most people. Interrupting this podcast for one moment to tell you that today's podcast partner is Masszymes, and a free bottle of Masszymes as well. If you suffer from any digestive complaints, if anything's not quite right in the gut area, gas, bloating, cramping or anything else, even when you feel like you're eating healthily, then you can get a bottle of Masszymes for free. You can go to masszymes.com/zestology-free. It's masszymes.com/zestology-free. So what it contains is astrazyme, which is a proprietary all-natural plant-derived compound extracted from Panax ginseng and astragalus, and it boosts amino acid absorption by 30 to 60%, basically helps you break down your food better. It's a 17 enzyme full spectrum formula, 5 different types of protease as well. Really, what you want to be doing is taking one of these while you eat and genuinely breaking down the issues that you might be suffering from with digestive issues like gut problems, bloating, cramping, and so on. You can go to masszymes.com/zestology-free. I mean, you know that I'm a mega fan of the company BiOptimizers, and they are my podcast partners this week. And I'm a huge fan of enzymes. I just cannot tell you enough how important it is to be taking enzymes. And I definitely take these pretty much twice a day, lunch and dinner. masszymes.com/zestology-free, and you will automatically get access to your unique coupon code to claim your free bottle. Limit 1 per household. Offer is valid while supplies last. You're going to love this product, I think. And what if you don't? You haven't lost anything because it's free. masszymes.com/zestology free, all one word. And if you're in the UK, I'm sorry, I don't think this is valid for you. But if you're in the US, it is. The good news is, if you're in the UK, you can buy it anyway. And you can go to biooptimizers.co.uk and use that code Zestology10 for 10% off. That's it. Back to the show. And when we last spoke, your business has got a lot bigger since then, hasn't it? Do you think that people in general are just sort of getting a bit more into this biohacky world?
I think the humanization of pets is a big key here, absolutely. And I think people realize that if I'm not going to eat this myself, why can I feed it to my dog, or my cat, and they're connecting the dots together, which is great. And that's feeding through to the vets. I mean, the vets are slowly coming across the line. They're not using the excuse of there's no science behind it, but yeah, they're just like, we've got 160,000 pets in our database. We know what's happening. We can see it. Wow. And the proof's there. If you can wait for the science, or you go, actually, no, I can see it right now. Yeah. And let's build the science to back it up. And again, if I think about HIIT as an exercise, scientists didn't invent that. They just saw all these sprinters become really muscular and went, what is it they're doing that makes them muscular? Right. And then the science backed that up. And that's what we're seeing with real feeding in pets as well. Yeah. So it just makes sense.
And then from a sort of health entrepreneur's perspective, I'm even more interested in that than I was a few years ago when we chatted, because that's now my full-time gig, building a business in this space. And how excited are you at working in this space right now? Because it does seem to be quite thriving.
I love it. I love it. Bella and Duke, we always wanted to be, I wanted to change the industry. So when you want to change an industry, you just think bigger. And you're going to need some really intelligent people. So fortunately, I'm just the gobby one on the front here. I've got some really smart people.
That's what I need to get better at. I've employed one very good
gobby
person.
Or being
being gobby. That's what I need to get better at.
Yeah, having those smart people behind you who just do what you know what you're great at. Get those other people that do the stuff you're not great at or you don't enjoy. Because there is actually people who like doing spreadsheets. Weird, I know, but they're out there.
I actually quite like doing spreadsheets.
I knew there was something weird about you. Yeah, but that's the key, is just having those guys around you who can really support that bigger vision.
Yeah.
So I think as CEO, my responsibility now is just to make sure we're on course and not get too caught in the detail.
Is that your excuse for just having a lie in every
Absolutely.
day?
That's me being in London. And
guys, you're doing it great on your own.
Yeah. I don't want to get in your way. I don't want to upset it.
That's good management, that.
Yeah. Well, as always, when I go away, the business does better. So I think that's... That tells you where I am.
And you haven't drunk for 6 months until last night. So how are you feeling today?
A little bit under the weather.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm coming on almost 48. I just find that just all these things knock you for
When are you 48?
June.
Which day?
June the 9th.
I'm 48 on June the 13th.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew
so
you were
4 days older than me.
Are you 48 this year?
48 in June,
yeah. So, and I think, you're looking great. Thank you very much. And I think you have to pull every squeeze you can now at our age to make things last longer, But recovering from alcohol, you just realise that
there's always Botox.
There is. I don't
think it's very biohacker-ish.
In your gin and tonic.
You can get the old stem cell Amy Killens here. She'll do you a nice vampire facial.
Well, I saw the Harry one, and I'm like, with Ben, and I'm like, I'm up for doing that.
Are you tempted?
I'm totally tempted.
You need to have a good year with Bella and Duke.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's never a price attached to these things. All for $9.99 a month. Yes, but I think I would love to do something like that. And, at the end of the day, if it costs in the thousands, but adds that onto the end of your life and you can work longer, it's just how you play. And it's the same with food. Like, if your priority in life is food and quality food, it's not expensive, it's a real price.
Yeah.
If you're used to buying cheap stuff and you see food as an expensive part of your life and don't treat it as a healthy part of your life, you will see food as expensive. So I think it's where you are in your priorities.
Yeah.
But I get it, sometimes some things seem out of reach, but I think if it is a priority,
one of the things I spoke about in my talk was gathering metrics on things that, for instance, there's God knows how many exhibitors here, thousands of different products you can try. You sort of need to find out what works and what doesn't. But the problem with food is sometimes you don't get immediate information. Sometimes you do. Like I find if I eat sunflower oil or seed oils, I feel it in my joints the next day.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just don't know, but it's still not doing you any good. That's the headbutt.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, because this morning I woke up and my joint, it was sore from having the alcohol last night. So I think you get used to a low level of pain, and when you take things out, then you spot the things that cause that inflammation again. So I think you have to be aware, take note, and I think there's also a lot of information that can be overwhelming. Like I was listening to the Decoder guy, and I was looking at that, and I'm going, I have absolutely no idea what you're saying, but I know you make lovely pictures on your app, and it tells me stuff. So
is it Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Joe, he's been on my podcast. Yeah, very good.
A good guy, but super smart. And again, you need those guys who can do the big data, but go, actually, let's ignore 95% of the noise and actually give you this 5 quick wins that you can do next week, and that's it. And I think that's also with biohacking. I like to try and eat a bit more seasonal, which is difficult in supermarkets. If you think about it, you get broccoli all year round.
I mean, you live in the depths of Scotland. What is winter in Scotland's seasonal produce actually like? I don't know.
Fish supper.
Lovely. That sounds good.
With extra Mars bar and batter. It's an interesting one. I mean, typically in the north, I guess it would be a lot more meat, and you'd have berries at the end of the summer, all these kind of things. We wouldn't typically have berries now, because that indicates to the body you're coming into winter, start storing fat.
Right.
So I think eating more seasonally actually helps with your body, and again, more and more evidence coming out with genetics. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. I think we're just getting to that exciting point where we're really starting to connect the dots. And I often joke about it, but if we want to fix the NHS, we just got to stop sticking crap in our mouths. That's how you fix the NHS. And I think the more seasonal, more local we can do, the better. And look, this global thing going on at the moment, I think it shows that global commodities are great, but actually being more community, eating more locally, gives you more security as a community as well. So I think we've just got to remind ourselves of that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know how we got into that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's all part of it, isn't it? Do you grow anything in your garden? Because I don't. We've got some herbs. I think we've got some rosemary somewhere.
Yeah. Actually, we do a few things, but I'm actually going to Mind Valley for the whole of July with the kids and stuff. So we said, right, we'll not do too much.
Oh, well, that's your excuse. We can't grow stuff because we're away for 3 weeks.
No, absolutely.
4 weeks.
Yeah. Any excuse not to have to turn that soil over again.
Yeah.
But no, we have done it in the past. And stuff like that.
Great. Yeah. So what is? I've asked you this before, but I'm going to ask you again. What is one book you'd recommend? It might be a new one, might be one you said before. And what is one tip for living with more energy and vitality?
Yeah, so it's funny because I actually went back through my Napoleon Hill collection. I just find I can go back to books that I have listened to before, and in a different part of your life, you go back and you go, something else jumps out of you. Yeah. So, I've got a huge amount of books that I do, but definitely Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People, a great little book as well.
Yeah.
In terms of hacks, again, I think simple. Just get used to this. I find the intermittent fasting a really useful tool.
Yeah.
So if you can get your mind around it, you're not gonna die if you don't eat a bit of celery, for 8 hours. I find that, to be fair, is the easiest thing for me to control.
What's your sort of schedule then? What time do you start eating?
Well, typically if I wake up about 5-6 o'clock in the morning, I have to get the kids on the bus, and then I'll do maybe an hour, jump on the Peloton, do some weights.
I just remembered our conversation about Peloton instructors last night. We won't repeat that.
I've gone through them all. And then I'll have a coffee with something like the bulletproof inner fuel.
Yeah.
I don't do bulletproof coffee at the moment. It doesn't work too well with me.
Yeah. I don't have bulletproof coffee anymore.
I think the calorie count goes crazy. And then by lunchtime, I actually in my office now, I cook for all my team because I wanted to show them how easy it is to eat. So I can actually feed them for like £1.70.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Sweet potatoes. I was like, guys, let's get loaded and get some nice toppers and stuff like that. It's really easy.
Yeah.
And you'll have to come and visit my office at some time, the Park Life.
Yeah, where is it?
It's just north of Edinburgh.
Oh, I'd love to.
So basically, we can have 50 dogs now in that office. Yeah.
Wow.
And we've got like pet wellness, so it's like this wellness part to it, and we've got it for the humans as well. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so we brought the park in life, which park inside.
Well, that's the fun thing about running a business, isn't it? You get to just create the culture from scratch.
You do. And sometimes you think you're mad, but then actually when I see it and people walk in, they go, I feel more energized when I leave than when I come, and that was always my goal there.
That's great.
So I know people think we're a bit woohoo, but actually they really do enjoy it once they let their hair go. And I think we're in a strange time where people are struggling to go back to work, or they don't want to go back to work, and then when they're at home they're feeling lonely and they've got this mental sort of so used to working at home that they find it hard to get back in. But once they get back in, they're actually, it's the best thing I've actually done. For the last 2 years, getting back and hanging out and meeting people, chatting over coffee and talking about stuff. It's just been great.
Oh, it really is. Yeah. And it's all getting a bit noisy around here, so let's finish this off. But Mark, thank you so much. Where can people find out more about your crazy office and everything you're doing?
Easiest, googly bellaandduke.com is where, and we're on Facebook. Got a phenomenal Facebook group. Come say hi, come and join the pack. There's loads of great information on there.
Join the pack.
Come and join the pack.
I like that. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the ultimate goal for the business before you go?
I think I just want to change the industry. So my goal has always been to get as many cats and dogs off processed foods as possible and onto a species-appropriate diet. That hasn't changed. We've got some, really, really exciting things coming up. Lots of interest, and I see the whole industry changing. The big guys out there, I won't name names, are changing. They are changing because our customers are saying to them, look, you can't feed crap food to our pets anymore, and we're going to take our pound and put it somewhere else. And that's what's happening, and that is the thing I just want to keep pushing is move that across. That's always been my goal. That's my goal until
very good. I think I might call this podcast "It's a Dog's Life."
It's a dog's life. It's a pet's life.
Or come join. What was it? What was the other one you said? You didn't call it a tribe. You called it a pack.
Come join the pack.
Yeah.
Come join the jungle.
Mark, enjoy. Great to see you. And we'll catch up again soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to go off and introduce Tim Gray on the stage in a few minutes' time, the host of the event at Tim Biohacker on Instagram if you don't follow him. And that's in about 9 minutes. And I'm under strict instructions to be by the side of the stage 15 minutes early. So I'm 6 minutes late. But look, just to remind you, this podcast is brought to you by Masszymes from BiOptimizers. They are one of the exhibitors here. If you use the code Zestology10 on their site, you'll get 10% off on Masszymes and all of their products, which is very exciting. And that is in the UK as well as the US. So whether you're on the US or UK BiOptimizers site, you'll get 10% off on Masszymes, Magnesium Breakthrough, which I love. They've been giving out free Magnesium Breakthrough here all weekend, which is excellent. And it's just a very cool, well-run company, and I'm really happy that they're here, and I'm very happy that they have partnered with me on this podcast as well. So Masszymes and Magnesium Breakthrough, it's definitely a good one. In fact, I've met quite a few people who called to me today and said, I've been on the Magnesium Breakthrough since you've been talking about it, which is great. So they owe me one. I mean, to be fair, they are one of my podcast partners, but I do love it anyway. Use Masszymes and use the code Zestology10 for 10% off. That is it for today's podcast. I'm sort of losing my voice, so I need to go and have a drink of water before I introduce Tim on the stage, and I'll see you next time.